Welcome back to the Nature Cures podcast, where we uncover the secrets of natural healing, holistic wellness, and living your healthiest life naturally. Now, you've been asking about natural remedies, and especially when it comes to appendicitis. Honestly, it's a topic that piques my curiosity, too.
Right.
You know, it's a condition that can turn serious pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
And while conventional medicine, often goes the surgical route.
Yeah.
We're kind of diving deep into some alternative perspectives today.
Yeah.
On what might cause it and how it might be treated naturally.
I think that's really important. You hit on something really crucial there. That sense of urgency with appendicitis. I mean, it is an inflammation of the appendix, that little finger-shaped pouch connected to your large intestine. And if it bursts, it can be life-threatening.
Yeah.
So understanding all of our options is essential.
For sure. So let's unpack what we found in our research. One of the things that really stood out to me was this idea that the appendix isn't just some useless leftover organ. It might actually play a vital role in our immune system.
Yeah, that's right. It's packed with lymphoid tissue, similar to what you find in your lymph nodes. These tissues are key players in filtering waste, identifying pathogens, and triggering immune responses.
So the appendix is like a frontline defense system in our gut.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if maybe issues with the appendix could be tied to a broader imbalance in our gut health.
It is a fascinating possibility, right?
Totally. And it leads us to another intriguing question. Why is appendicitis seemingly more common in developed countries?
Yeah.
Our research suggests that lifestyle factors might play a significant role.
Okay.
So let's dig into that. What kind of lifestyle factors are we talking about? Is it just about diet, or are there other things at play?
Well, diet is definitely a key factor. The research we're looking at emphasizes the potential impact of a toxic bowel condition, essentially a buildup of waste and toxins in the large intestine. That could irritate the appendix. Think processed foods, low fiber intake, and all those things we know aren't great for our gut.
Right. But the research also mentions this concept of enervation of the system.
Oh, yeah.
What does that even mean?
Essentially, it's talking about a depletion of the body's vital energy and its ability to function optimally. This can be caused by a whole host of factors.
Okay.
Stress, lack of sleep, nutritional deficiencies, over-reliance on stimulants, even a sedentary lifestyle.
So it sounds like it's describing a state of chronic depletion.
Yeah.
Where your body's just constantly running on fumes.
Exactly. And if you're already in that state,
it
makes sense that your system might be more susceptible to issues. Like appendicitis.
Right, like it just can't handle it anymore.
Exactly. It's like the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah.
Your body might be able to handle a certain level of toxic buildup, but if it's also dealing with chronic stress and depletion, that's when things can start to go haywire.
So this toxic bowel, combined with enervation of the system, creates a perfect storm for appendicitis.
Yeah.
It's a pretty different way of looking at it as what you typically hear from, doctors.
It definitely challenges conventional thinking.
Yeah. And it leads to some interesting ideas about how to approach appendicitis from a natural healing perspective.
For sure.
So if we're looking at appendicitis through this lens of a toxic bowel and a depleted system, what does that mean for treatment? Where do we even begin?
Well, the research we've been diving into suggests a pretty dramatic starting point.
Okay.
A complete fast. We're talking no food whatsoever for 3 full days, only water allowed. This is especially recommended at the first sign of severe pain, vomiting, or fever.
Wow, that's intense. But I guess the logic is to give the digestive system a complete break.
Yes.
To focus on healing.
Precisely. The research emphasizes that rest is crucial alongside the fast. It also recommends low enemas during those first 3 days to help clear out any accumulated waste in the lower bowel.
Enemas aren't exactly a go-to solution in mainstream medicine these days. What does the research say about their role in this protocol?
It stresses their importance in removing that buildup we talked about. Giving the body a jump start on cleansing while it's also resting and repairing. And it's not just about internal cleansing. The research also suggests external therapies, like hot compresses, directly on the painful area to soothe inflammation.
So it's a multifaceted approach. So we've got the fasting, the enemas, and the hot compresses, what comes next in this natural treatment protocol.
That's where we shift into a gentler phase of reintroducing nutrients.
Okay.
But it's done very gradually and strategically. It all starts with fruit juices.
Okay.
A specific blend of carrot, beet, and cucumber.
Why this particular combination? What's so special about these juices?
Each ingredient brings its own set of benefits to the table. Carrot juice is known for its cleansing and detoxifying properties. Beets are thought to support liver function. And cucumbers are cooling and soothing to the digestive system. It's like a symphony of nutrients working together to gently nourish and revitalize after that initial cleansing phase.
So it's baby steps back to solid food.
Yeah.
With each ingredient carefully chosen for a specific purpose.
Exactly.
And the research mentions fenugreek tea, too.
Yeah.
What role does that play in all of this?
Fenugreek is traditionally used for a variety of digestive issues. In this context, it's suggested to help prevent the appendix from becoming overwhelmed by excess mucus and waste. It's like creating a protective barrier while the body is still in a delicate healing phase.
Yeah, this is all incredibly detailed and thought out. It makes you wonder if there's a connection between this approach to appendicitis and the overall state of our digestive health.
That's a great point, and it's something we'll definitely delve deeper into as we continue our deep dive. But before we move on, I want to address something that's been on my mind. We've been talking about this toxic bowel idea, but how does constipation fit into all of this?
Constipation is actually highlighted as a major factor in appendicitis, according to the research we've been looking at. It's like the traffic jam that backs everything up, contributing to that buildup of waste and toxins we discussed earlier.
That makes a lot of sense. So addressing constipation becomes crucial.
Yeah.
Not just for immediate relief, but also for long-term prevention.
Absolutely. And the research offers some insights into that as well.
Yeah.
Which we'll explore in more detail as we continue our deep dive. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've uncovered so far. It's a fascinating and a complex approach to appendicitis.
Yeah.
One that challenges us to think about the interconnectedness of our bodies and the power of natural healing.
So we've been unpacking some really thought-provoking ideas about how our lifestyle choices, especially our diet, might contribute to appendicitis. And you touched on the research suggesting a link between constipation and this condition.
I'm really curious to explore what this natural healing approach recommends for tackling that.
Well, what's fascinating here is that it goes beyond simply suggesting more fiber or fluids. While those are important, the research highlights therapies like hot fermentation and abdominal massage. These techniques can help stimulate bowel movements and encourage things to move along.
So it's about supporting the body's natural processes rather than just relying on laxatives or other quick fixes.
Exactly. And speaking of supporting natural processes, the dietary recommendations after that initial fasting and cleansing phase are really intriguing. It's not just a sudden return to regular eating. The research suggests a gradual transition, starting with an all-fruit diet for several days.
It's like easing the digestive system back into action gently.
Yes.
Why fruit specifically, though? Wouldn't vegetables make more sense for fiber and all that?
That's where the nuanced understanding of how different foods affect our bodies comes out. The research points out that fruits are generally easier to digest and full of nutrients that support cleansing and repair. They're seen as a gentle way to nourish the body while it's still in a delicate healing phase.
So it's about giving the body what it needs at each stage of the healing process.
Exactly.
What happens after the all-fruit phase? Do we jump right back into a normal diet?
Not quite. The research suggests a very specific dietary approach for the long term. Focused on a balance of seeds, nuts, and grains, vegetables, and fruits. It emphasizes whole, unprocessed foods and minimizing anything that might contribute to that toxic bowel condition we discussed earlier.
It's interesting how this approach goes beyond just treating the immediate symptoms of appendicitis and looks at creating a sustainable way of eating for long-term gut health. Does it mention anything about how to handle chronic cases where the inflammation keeps recurring?
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting. For chronic appendicitis, the research recommends a different approach. A short fast, followed by a full milk diet for a few weeks.
A milk diet? That seems so counterintuitive.
I know, right?
Wouldn't dairy be hard on the digestive system?
That was my initial reaction too. But remember, we're talking about raw whole milk here. not the processed kind we often see in grocery stores.
Right.
The research suggests that raw milk can be incredibly nourishing and soothing to the gut lining, especially when introduced gradually.
So it's about using the unique properties of certain foods to support the body's healing process.
Exactly.
And it sounds like there's an emphasis on gradual transitions and listening to your body's cues throughout this whole process.
Absolutely. And that attention to detail extends to specific remedies as well.
Okay.
We've touched on the carrot, beet, and cucumber juice combination, but let's delve a bit deeper into why the research highlights those particular ingredients.
I'm all ears. What makes these juices so special in the context of appendicitis?
Each one brings its own set of benefits to the table. Carrot juice is a powerhouse of vitamins and antioxidants, known for its cleansing properties. Beets are believed to support liver function and detoxification, which is crucial when we're talking about that toxic bowel concept. And cucumbers are known for their cooling and soothing effects on the digestive system.
It's like they each target a specific aspect of the healing process.
Exactly.
And what about the fenugreek tea? We briefly touched on its role, but I'd love to hear more about why the research recommends it.
Fenugreek is a real multitasker in the world of natural remedies. It's traditionally used to soothe inflammation, promote digestion, and even help regulate blood sugar levels. In the context of appendicitis, it's suggested to help prevent that buildup of mucus and waste that can irritate the appendix.
So it's not just about addressing the inflammation itself, but creating an environment where the appendix can heal and function optimally. It's a very holistic approach, isn't it?
It really is, and that's what I find so compelling about this research. It encourages us to think beyond just treating the symptom. And to address the underlying imbalances that might be contributing to the problem.
It's like looking at the whole tapestry of our health. Rather than just focusing on one isolated thread. And speaking of threads, there's one more aspect of this approach I want to make sure we touch on. The role of surgery. We know that appendicitis is often treated surgically. But what does the research we've been discussing say about that?
This is where things get a bit controversial. While conventional medicine often views surgery as the primary solution for appendicitis, this natural healing approach presents it as a last resort, only to be considered in very specific circumstances.
It's not about rejecting conventional medicine outright, but rather exploring all the options and prioritizing natural approaches whenever possible.
Exactly, and I think that's a really important nuance to highlight. This approach isn't about blindly following one set of rules. It's about empowering ourselves to make informed decisions about our health in consultation with qualified healthcare professionals.
It's about having an open mind and considering all the tools available to us, both conventional and alternative. It's about understanding that our bodies have an incredible capacity for healing when given the right support.
And that's a message I think we can all benefit from hearing, regardless of our individual health journeys. It's about taking a proactive approach to our well-being and exploring the fascinating interconnectedness of our bodies and the world around us.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From understanding the potential causes of appendicitis to exploring natural treatment protocols and even challenging conventional thinking about surgery. It's been quite a journey.
It has. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder. We've seen how this natural healing approach views appendicitis as a potential consequence of a toxic bowel and a depleted system. So the question is, what can we do to create an internal environment that supports optimal gut health and overall well-being? What choices can we make in our daily lives to nourish and revitalize ourselves from the inside out?
That's a powerful question, and I think it's one that each of us needs to answer for ourselves. But I believe that exploring these natural healing approaches can give us valuable insights and tools to empower us on that journey.
I'd agree.
You know, we spent this deep dive really exploring a different way of thinking about appendicitis, looking at it through the lens of natural healing. And it's been fascinating to uncover how interconnected things like diet, lifestyle, and even stress levels might be when it comes to this condition.
And what's particularly intriguing is how this approach encourages us to look beyond just treating the symptoms and consider the root causes of what might be going on in the body. It's a shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one.
It really is. We've discussed the potential of fasting, enemas, specific juice combinations, and even a milk diet for chronic cases. But beyond these specific protocols, I think there's a bigger message here about taking ownership of our health and well-being.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we have more agency than we often realize. This isn't about dismissing conventional medicine, but rather expanding our toolkit and understanding that there are multiple paths to healing.
And sometimes those paths might involve making significant lifestyle changes. We've talked about the dietary recommendations.
Right.
But what other lifestyle factors does this research highlight as potentially beneficial for preventing and addressing appendicitis?
One of the key points it emphasizes is the importance of managing stress.
Okay.
Remember that concept of enervation of the system we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
Chronic stress is a major contributor to that depletion of vital energy.
So finding healthy ways to cope with stress, whether it's through mindfulness practices, spending time in nature, or engaging in activities we enjoy, becomes crucial not just for our mental health, but for our physical well-being too.
Exactly. And along with stress management, the research also highlights the importance of regular physical activity. It doesn't have to be strenuous workouts. Even gentle movement like walking, yoga, or Tai Chi can make a big difference in supporting digestion and overall health.
It's like all these pieces fit together. Diet, stress management, exercise. They all contribute to creating that internal environment where our bodies can thrive. And I think that's a really empowering message. It's not about feeling overwhelmed by all the things we should be doing. It's about finding what works for us individually and incorporating these practices into our lives in a way that feels sustainable and enjoyable.
You've hit the nail on the head there. It's about finding that balance and remembering that healing is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, times when we fall off track, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep listening to our bodies.
And sometimes that might mean seeking guidance from qualified healthcare professionals who can help us navigate the complexities of our health and make informed decisions.
Exactly.
It's not about blindly following one approach or another. It's about finding what resonates with us and feels aligned with our values and goals.
And perhaps most importantly, it's about approaching our health with a sense of curiosity and compassion. Our bodies are incredible, resilient, and intelligent systems. By tuning in and paying attention, we can unlock so much wisdom and healing potential within ourselves.
That's a beautiful way to put it. As we wrap up this deep dive into natural approaches to appendicitis, I'm left with a sense of hope and possibility. It's been a journey of challenging conventional thinking, exploring alternative perspectives, and ultimately remembering the power we each have to shape our own health and well-being.
And as always, this is just the beginning of the conversation. We encourage you to continue exploring, to seek out reputable sources of information, and to engage in open and honest dialogue with your healthcare providers.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's sparked your curiosity and inspired you to delve deeper into the fascinating world of natural healing. Until next time, be well.